All right. Welcome, everyone, to the weekly Wednesday lunchtime live stream on twitch.tv/DDO stream. I'm Cordovan, the community manager for Dungeons and Dragons Online, heading into the holidays. And we are pretty much getting things ready to wrap up for the year. So we've got a lot happening in game, and we're working behind the scenes on some upcoming sales and bonuses. I can not talk about the sales, but I can talk about the bonuses a little bit here in a little bit. And overall, I think we're just going to do some questing later on in the show, continue to run the quests from Update 57, Grip of the Hidden Hand. Haven't been able to show them off very much on this Wednesday show, mostly due to the fact that we've had a run of downtimes running over into noon. But not this week. This week we actually just had a restart and we were able to get things back up and running. So we should be able to do some fun gameplay here during the stream today. And overall, we don't have a lot of earth-shattering news, right? Most of the things that we've done, released Update 57, begin Festivalt, start the hardcore season, and starting tomorrow, Night Revels, doing sales, things like that, working on a follow-up patch. We do have our next game update of significance set for 2023. That would be in January, next month. We don't currently have a game update planned between now and the end of December, but of course, if things arise that require it, we can certainly do so. And that's really kind of where we're sitting today. So I could mention at the start that Night Revels, as I said, is coming back. This will kick off late morning Eastern time, something like that, tomorrow, and it's going to run through next Wednesday. So through Wednesday, December 21st, being shut off on that Thursday morning when we swap over to the next game bonus. This is going to be on hardcore as well. Yeah, we're bringing Night Revels Redux to the hardcore server for this week. Let us know what you think about it. We also have Festival going on hardcore, and I think the overall thinking has been that there's really no harm in putting these seasonal events on the hardcore server, and that in many ways the community would appreciate us doing so. If that's not the case, of course, please do let us know. We'd be happy to hear that feedback. The weekly bonuses, though, are still intended to stay off on hardcore for the foreseeable future. I really couldn't see a scenario other than the community begging us to do it. To bring, like, say, our XP boosts and guild renown boosts and things like that to the hardcore server. I really don't see us doing that, at least any time in the near future. But, you know, ultimately this is a server for everyone else as well. So if you want it, let us know. I don't think we need to open the can of worms on bonuses on hardcore here. But we are bringing the seasonal events. We had been bringing the seasonal events, the last couple, to the hardcore server, and it was just generally positive feedback. So Night Revels kicks off on all the game worlds, including hardcore, tomorrow late morning Eastern time, running through Wednesday, December 21st. This week's bonus as well is double daily dice XP. That is going to also be kicking off. And yeah, that'll run through Sunday, though. So instead of getting 100, you'll get 200. Or 1,000, you'll get 2,000. Or 10,000, you get 20,000. You can get a whole bunch of XP from this. But in general, it's, you know, good reason to save your gold rolls, maybe. We also, what else could I mention? We do have December deals that will be continuing. We got a lot of positive feedback on last week's 75% off the Traveler's Terrific Trunk, still available right now, through generally tomorrow, I think, is when we leave these sales active, midnight Eastern or something like that. At the very least through today, you can get a Traveler's Terrific Trunk for 75% off, and I've seen some forum people do the math on that and discover that it's a pretty good deal, so perhaps you'll want to know that before the sale ends if you do not have one yet, and have some DTO points that you can spend on it. We do have a new set that'll be kicking off tomorrow. I can't spoil what that's going to be, sorry. It will, however, continue with the trend of generally 35, 50, 75% off singular items that are kind of exceptional sales on top of the regular things that we do. all in December, and I happen to know that we're getting ready for late in the month too, with release of some things that people might generally expect us to release around that specific point in the holidays. So there we go. Some good things happening. Festival coins are active. If you haven't seen it, I would real quick put up the guide here. We do have some information to get you started. Most folks don't really need a guide for Festival. It's, get your coins, find the jester, turn them into cookies, use the cookies or not, and also other things that you can get. But we do have this here for those who need a little assistance getting started with Festival. You can find that over on DDO.com. The Festival Jester is going to be around through January 15th. I think earlier I had said the 16th. It's actually shut off on the 16th, so it's through the 15th. While coins will appear in game through January 8th. Pretty typical thing. We run it through the holidays. By that point, everyone's sick of getting their Festival cookies. We shut off the cookies, and then a week later, we shut off the ability to trade the cookies with the Jester of the Festival. So that'll be happening. Your deadlines, as it were, coins through January 8th, the Jester through January 15th. Just a quick reminder on the Hardcore League that does run until 2 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, we're picking a time this time. So 2 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday, February 7th, 2023. So Tuesday, February 7th, 2023, 2 p.m. Eastern time. We're not doing it at like midnight. We just figured let's not do that to ourselves to some extent. Pick a nice time, like 2 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday, February 7th, for the end of the 7th season of the Hardcore League. So, all right, let me get to your questions here quick before we go in game, and then otherwise I think we're largely through the news section. Although I can talk about a few other things. Lamania when? Well, I would not expect to see a Lamania for a little while here. We obviously have things we're working on next beyond Update 57. We do want to let you know about some of those things. I don't know that we're going to get there before the holidays. I think it might be after. But we are clearly working on an Update 58 and beyond, and we'll have a whole lot more information to share with you about that, I think, in the early part of the new year. And if we can get something out a bit earlier, we will. We do have a producer's letter that will need to get written here. We're well aware of that. The work on that is in its formative stages. I won't say we haven't started yet. We've definitely started because we've talked a whole bunch about it. But it's still in the formative stages in terms of being in a position to release. So I would expect to hear more in a producer's letter in early 2023 and some information about what is next, probably a little bit before that even. And then we'll have a lot more to say in the coming weeks about our future plans. So there we go. But Lamania, though, in terms of you actually seeing the next thing, I would expect that to be... Well, I wouldn't want to put a date on it. But it's not going to be anytime real soon, so... we do not have a VIP XP boost this weekend. Period. But we have one coming up here in the near future. I don't think Night Revels and Hardcore is a trap. I mean, it's an optional thing. You're right, it's not required. But there might be some of that loot that I bet some people on Hardcore would sure appreciate. And overall, the challenge level of Night Revels, assuming you're, playing to your abilities, pretty easy. So not too difficult there. What does double daily dice XP? Does it double the roll or when you use them? It delivers twice as much XP as it would otherwise when the bonus was not active. So if prior to the double daily dice XP being activated, you would get 1,000 XP, that same roll will get you 2,000 XP. And that's how it works. It simply delivers twice as much daily dice XP during the bonus time frame. No, Joe Candymaker will not be available longer than the Night Revels bonus time, only during the time of the Night Revels Redux. So please do make sure that if you are interested in spending any leftovers you maybe have from October, please do see Joe Candymaker here in this next week. Although not today, because it's not active right now. Tomorrow. Details on the next raid. Oh man, is it? No, I can't. I've actually heard, though, a little bit about it. Yes, that sounds like a good topic here. Speaking of raids, why today, announcement, we have closed the Skeletons in the Closet raid on hardcore specifically because of the mandatory death optional. The FAQ calls out the Shroud 2, you don't close that. True. There's a bug we are investigating with Skeletons in the Closet where certain dot effects are not properly being removed. And as a result, in order to feel confident that we are not causing problems on hardcore while we investigate and resolve this bug, we made the decision to close Skeletons in the Closet on hardcore specifically. The actual instances of this bug occurring are currently quite low, and hopefully it will stay that way. But we've just out of an abundance of caution decided to close the raid on hardcore while we investigate and resolve the issue. Players are absolutely correct, though, that we probably don't have to do this. And the reason for that is that this involves a dot effect currently in the secret kind of optional part of the raid. And in order to do that, someone needs to die, and you, as soon as that person dies, rather than get respawned like you would theoretically expect to happen in a not hardcore environment, you're sent to the Land of Lost Souls. So the actual secret optional objective in Skeletons in the Closet is not currently doable on the hardcore server. Thus, it seems highly probable that this actual bug involving dot effects would not be present because no one could actually get there to begin with. But until we know that internally for certain, we felt it would be fine to temporarily close Skeletons in the Closet. Especially at this point in the season, there will be time to run Skeletons in the Closet on hardcore if you want to. I would expect that to be something you can do, and I wouldn't do the secret optional, not if you want to live, and you can't do it anyway. But you're welcome to try when we reopen Skeletons in the Closet here during the hardcore season. But we just wanted to basically sanity check it before we reopened that raid. And also at this point, I think in the hardcore season, we certainly have people doing a lot of progress by this point, right? It has been a little while since that hardcore's been open, like a week here, right? Yeah, a week. But a week into the new season of hardcore, are people really running Skeletons in the Closet? And I think the answer is basically no. Eventually, they probably might want to, though. And until that, and so we'll reopen it in the future so that they can do that. But for now, it just seemed safer to sort of bulletproof our investigation and keep that raid closed on hardcore specifically while we do. I thought I had corrected that typo, Goldie Gopher, regarding January on social media, but I can take a look and delete some tweets today if necessary. I have nothing to announce today, Yob Sagath, related to your question about VIP daily gold roll bonuses expiring at the end of the year, what is next. I can definitely confirm that it is true. We will be expiring the gold roll, the daily dice gold rolls for VIP as explicitly stated in the text that we had associated with it at the end of the year. I think in reality it may dip just a little bit into 2023 because I think we're going to do it during a game downtime window. So I think it would probably be our first game downtime window in 2023 in actuality. But from kind of a business commitment perspective, it is through the end of the year. And we will probably have more to say about that in the new year. But for now, it is going to expire. This is true. And we will have more to say about both the VIP program, I think, and perhaps some other way to this your interest in having daily dice gold rolls in the future. I don't want to comment anything further on that. Because it's we're just not in a position to do so. So, all right. We told you it was coming back, man. I mean, well, maybe you clearly didn't see it, Guacamole. I'm sorry for that. But we have tried to be pretty explicit that we were going to be offering a Night Revels return for a brief period so that people could use their ingredients before they expire one last time. Sorry to hear, though. Thankfully, in my experience, Night Revels is one of our friendlier, shall we say. Not actually, most of our festivals are pretty friendly. We're not too grindy on them, but Night Revels isn't that bad. You can get what you want in an hour. In my experience, I'm generally about an hour per item. Of course, if you want to upgrade the item, you're talking a little more, but still. All right, I just checked everything. I think we're good to kind of move in game. So for those of you who aren't really interested in just kind of hanging out and watching some gameplay, you can probably tune out now if you want to. We're just going to kind of hang out and have some fun here for the remainder of the stream. If my game transition works. All right, I had problems last week with XSplit, and I actually ended the show early. I could probably follow up a little bit on that. This was an XSplit specific issue. When you look at the video in hindsight, it was only happening on the video through XSplit. The game was not actually framey when I was playing it. And what I discovered is I had some kind of GPU issue. It's actually still kind of there in XSplit that I'm trying to figure out. And the issue is that my GPU is spiking when XSplit's trying to run. And it manifests itself by, if I have XSplit prioritized, like I've moused over to it and clicked on it, my GPU usage will go down to about 22-23% as expected. But when I move away from XSplit over into the DDO client or Chrome or any other window, that GPU spikes to about 84-85%, or last week 99%, and then thus causing problems. I don't actually have a full solution to that yet, but at least I know what the problem is. Things were looking fine earlier today, so that's the technical detail of where we are in Corto world. If this bombs again, then I'll probably just end the stream early, since I've said everything of value already anyway. Shoot, and I'm already seeing it. There we are. GPU, 99%. Well, crud. Let me try lowering the graphics a bit, see if that helps. No. Yeah, see, the reason is it's not a game client issue. This is an XSplit issue. Look at that. If I could actually, well, I could try. Let me just try grabbing it rather than using game capture. Let me just capture the desktop. See if that's better. Might be. Doesn't look as good, but that's fine. Should function for now. Because, yeah, now I'm down to... No, GPU is still spiking. Well, we'll just roll with it and see what happens. Because if this gets real bad, then I'll just not. Maybe try to... we've got an upcoming break here in the next couple of weeks. So I guess maybe I'll have to ditch XSplit, go over to OBS or something, and see if it's any better. Because yeah, like if I were to be able to show you my, well, I guess I could, kind of. Not easily, but I could, if I were to flip my webcam around or something and show you the client is not displaying any issues, but its rendering sure is. So I'm not going to be able to do that. What else can I do then? I guess I'm probably just going to have to call it a short show and deal with it later. It's unfortunate. It was working this morning. Maybe there's a memory leak or something as well. But not much I can do about that. So, yeah, why don't we just kind of hang out, do a little Q&A, see if there's anything else we could talk about, and then otherwise just wrap up the show. I should be back next week. Maybe I can get OBS going functionally enough to stream next week here. Stream the game client here next week. But otherwise, I'm going to take a week off, maybe even 2 weeks, and then I'll be back in the new year myself. So we'll see how that goes. You want to see me on the hardcore server? I have not actually had an opportunity to play on the hardcore server yet. And I know I'm late to the game because it's already been out a week. But the reality is that this past week has been exceptionally busy, both inside of the office and outside of the office for me. And I just have not had any nights to do anything other than, I guess I could mention this, other than deal with Extra Life. So as of this, gosh, I guess it was late last week on the DDO side, perhaps even the weekend, I was able to do that first pass through all the Extra Life stuff, and that got done. So if you haven't heard from me yet about Extra Life, please do get in touch with me, and do that through the forums if you can. If you can't, that's fine, but, you know, I don't know how you're trying to contact me, so can't guarantee that I'm seeing it. And if I have not gotten back to you yet, then I haven't seen it. So please try to get in touch with me through the forums if you can. And if not, then Twitter is probably the second best, because I check that and I see those messages every day. And if you can't do Twitter and you can't do the forums, do one of those things. But I suppose if you really can't, you could email ddo@standingstonegames.com, and I'll make a note to check that inbox over the next week. But I did get back to just about everybody. There were a few cases I need to follow up to see if I can get your game account or your forum account name, your forum display name, not the same as your game account, and try to associate it. But most everyone's already heard back from me on the DDO side. So if you've not, please do. Now's a great time to get in touch with me and say, hey, donated $20, $50, whatever you did, and I haven't heard back from you yet. Here's my forum display name if you didn't reply through that method, and here's what you want, and I'll get back to you as quickly as I can. So, all right. That sounds good though. For the new year here, I can play a couple weeks on hardcore. That sounds like a pretty good thing to do. So I can't guarantee I'm going to get very far, but it's always entertaining to watch me die, is it not? So. You're really liking the Sacred Fist Paladin. I hope we get more archetypes in 2023. Magic 8 Ball says seems likely. I can't really talk about whether there would be... I'm not aware of any plans to do additional... No, I can't say that. Sorry. I can't talk about, like, what our future might not be. Fix for +5 hit point, more grave favor implemented. Not in this week's maintenance. This was just a thing for maintenance. We do intend to fix that. Right now, it is fixed for everyone moving forward, but those who were previously impacted by earning that tier of favor and not getting the extra 5 hit points, we're going to need to version you to get that corrected. And that versioning work will take place, I think, at our next game update of Substance, but it was not able to get done in time for 57.1 last week. Arcaniverse, yes, you can still technically donate to SSG's Extra Life. That would be extra-life.org/team/Standing Stone Games. Please do go to DDO.com or the DDO forums and fill out that survey link quickly so I can get back to you. Technically, I believe Extra Life takes donations through the end of the year. The campaign is basically done, but I'm not going to raise a stink if you want to do a last-second donation and get a few things. That's fine. So you're welcome to do so. All right. An alphabetical sort for the crafting bank. That would be nice, wouldn't it not? Can we not? I don't have to admit, though, I don't do a lot of sorting of my crafting bank. I'm not even sure the last time I tried, to be honest. So I'm not sure that I personally can attest much to that. I guess I wasn't aware you couldn't sort alphabetically, but it would make sense that you couldn't. That's fine. I don't think I've ever actually wanted to. I typically, if I need to go to my crafting bank for something and it's not just auto-pulling, I would search by name of the specific item, I guess. Need a stack increase on a bunch of things that go into it. Well, perhaps that's some functionality we can get to in the future. Can we delete spell components from the game? Do you want us to? Do you really? Are you sure? All right, there we go. So yeah, I mean, you're right. In some ways, spell components are a little bit of a maintenance task. We do offer Omnispell Dust and Omnispell Stones. I can tell you, if you're the community manager for Dungeons & Dragons Online, you really appreciate those in the DDO store. And when you get them through Daily Dice and things. But if you're the community manager for Dungeons & Dragons Online, you might go to the DDO store and buy them in stacks of like 1,000. Because it sure is nice, isn't it? Removing spell components entirely could certainly be an option. You know, we do have, of course, the feat, the old 3-5 feat still active and things like that. But it's certainly a feature request that could be discussed. Could have a good debate about whether you should actually have spell components in DDO. I've not heard of any plans to return gifting Arcaniverse, but I know that it's a feature request the community would very much like to see, and you know, we would probably like to see it someday too. Have I seen the D&D movie Reel the Monsters? I don't think so. I watched, there was that 2-minute kind of studio promo where they intercut some interviews with the cast to some generally recycled footage from the launch trailer or the announcement trailer, but then a little bit more as well. And that was really cool. I myself, they're making the D&D movie for me. They don't know this, but I asked them to make the movie, and they're delivering in, end of March here. So I myself am actually quite thrilled. I don't think this movie's going to suck. I think it's going to be good. I actually think this movie's going to be good. It may not be, you know, the next Peter Jackson trilogy or anything like that. I'm not expecting it to be that. I'm expecting good popcorn fun, and it hopefully should look good and sound good, and cast is great. I'm loving what I'm seeing of that D&D movie. And yes, I am the biased, but you know what? I'm also not wrong. So there you go. It looks sweet, is how I would describe it. The official Cordo ruling is the D&D movie looks sweet, and no one is allowed to think otherwise. And if so, you're not allowed to tell me. And if so, I have to not react. All right. Challenge accepted. All right. Well, that sounds good. Hey, it's been fun though. Thanks for joining me on the weekly Wednesday lunchtime live stream. I will be back next Wednesday. Not sure what'll be up in terms of gameplay or whether it might just be another kind of shorter news show. Maybe this is actually what it's going to work out being. For the next couple of weeks. I'm expecting in the new year to actually move the show away from Wednesdays. I do want to get away from our weekly downtime, not just because it sometimes ekes into the start of the show, but also because I'm generally working when there's downtime, and especially when downtime ends. And having that happen over when I'm actually supposed to be live on the air is a challenge. So I think we're going to be moving the date from Wednesday to some other day. Probably Thursday or Friday, but I don't know yet. I need to look at the schedule, kind of figure out what's going on, and get back to everyone. I also don't know if it's going to be at noon. Won't be if it's on Friday, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But the show's going to get a little bit of a rebrand, probably at the very least in the new year, because Weekly Wednesday lunchtime live stream ain't going to be accurate anymore, and that's how we go. So should still be the same terrible show that you're used to. All right, thanks everyone for watching. I will see you next week. Hope you're having a good time in Didio. Excited to see the Night Revels. Maybe we'll do Night Revels next week. And I will talk to you all again soon. Bye-bye.